Matt Mercer reveals that the mini-series after EXU Divergence will be the Soulsborne adventure fans have been waiting for.
What is it you desire?
Critical Role will be diving into the Age of Umbra, Matt Mercer's Soulsborne campaign frame from the upcoming Daggerheart core rulebook, before the start of Campaign 4. But just what is the Age of Umbra? And why are fans so excited for it? Why not hit those like and subscribe buttons to help us keep these stories coming? And then, let's talk Daggerheart's Dark Souls-inspired setting. During his fireside chat, Matt Mercer revealed that after Brennan brings us back to Exandria in his EXU Divergence miniseries, Matt will be stepping back into the GM seat to run a miniseries in his Age of Umbra setting frame for Daggerheart.
Oh, I can show you Age of Umbra since we're going to be doing that one soon. This miniseries going to be running here shortly.
A dark setting inspired by Soulsborne games like Elden Ring, Bloodborne, and Dark Souls, which coincidentally happen to be Matt's favorite games.
The Dark Souls series definitely I've been back to the most. Initially it was Dark Souls 2.
Dark Souls 2. Okay.
That was the one that I had a lot more free time and obsessed over, and then go back to it now. Elden Ring's kind of fighting for Bloodborne 2. Look, it's a thing. Anyway, Next question.
Matt first revealed the existence of this frame during a PAX Unplugged panel last year, alongside fellow Daggerheart designers Spencer Stark and Rowan Hall. So let's give the man himself a chance to explain just what Age of Umbra is.
The campaign that I created, the Age of Umbra, is a very, very kind of Soulsborne, dark, challenging. It's a very grim place, but by design, Daggerheart, we have, our Menagerie game was very silly and very fun and very kind of just flexing and going over the top with our characters. Age of Umbra is meant to be the opposite. It is meant to be, a landscape that has been without gods for over 100 years. They abandoned the people there. The realm itself is kind of rotting and dying, and the survivors that exist there have to hold on to what community exists to get by, while the dark things that lurk in the shadows grow darker and larger as time passes. And so that's very much the mood and theme. And so once we have the themes established, then we get to do a little bit of world building, give you a map, give you some ideas to the history that you can pull from and feel inspired by, and then have mechanics behind it. So like in the Age of Umbra, whenever you take a downtime activity, there are threats and dangers whenever you rest that might give the GM more fear. You might actually be attacked before you finish resting.
You leave somebody out for watch too, right? That's like part of the mechanic as well. Which is cool.
You want to have somebody take the watch action while you're doing downtime to try and mitigate that danger. And so there's mechanics in that frame to help set that sort of theme of no place is really safe. Mm-hmm. There are things lurking out there, and there is, long-standing corruption beyond just damage that exists in this space.
So basically, Age of Umbra is very much the cautionary tale of what could have happened to Exandria had the gods been fully chased away or killed and things taken a dark path afterwards. And it leans heavily into that Soulsborne aesthetic. So what other Soulsborne characteristics, which clearly fans love as Dark Souls, Bloodborne, and now Elden Ring have become massive blockbuster video game franchises with millions and millions of sales, can we expect to see in Age of Umbra? Elden Ring in particular, the latest of the Soulsborne games, was so good and so popular its expansion nearly won Game of the Year after the original game won Game of the Year, and has sold over 30 million copies at this point. So we know that the demand for something that fits those very specific vibes is definitely out there, but what can we assume about Age of Umbra based on what we know about the very particular rules and lore that seem to be found in every Soulsborne game? Well, for one, we can assume that Age of Umbra, like every Soulsborne game, will feature a lot of elements of undeath. In Elden Ring, the main character is one of the Tarnished, a group of long-dead people resurrected to try and become the new Elden Lord. In Dark Souls, you are either a chosen undead, which is pretty self-explanatory, or the Ashen One, another undead who was burned to ashes by a primordial flame and then resurrected. While Bloodborne did focus more on Cthulhu-like elements for its main character, the game itself was also chock full of undead enemies and of course the incredibly annoying undead giant boss. So when Critical Role hits the Age of Umbra campaign in Daggerheart, expect the setting to be chock full of not just undead enemies, but undead NPCs and even undead allies. The other major aspect of Soulsborne games you can expect to see in Age of Umbra is some sort of Coven of Ruined Powers. Demigods or pseudo-deities that have kind of fallen or died but are still squabbling to control the lands that they try and rule over. In Elden Ring, this would be the Shardbearers, the demigod offspring of deities fallen to corruption as they battle for control of the lands between. In Dark Souls, this is the Lord Souls, primordial beings like the Furtive Pygmy and Nito, first of the dead, who are now husks and wandering souls trying to preserve their power. And in Bloodborne, you have the Kin, powerful mutated humans created by experimentation with the blood of the Great Ones, the Cthulhu-esque multidimensional gods who once walked the world that have now kind of turned into these demigod offspring of those Great Ones. So expect to find some kind of group of demigod-like creatures in power, fighting over the various regions of Age of Umbra and fighting each other for prominence in a world abandoned by the gods. So now if that all sounds amazing, the good news is you won't have long to wait for Critical Role to begin their Age of Umbra miniseries. Based on what Matt said during his fireside chat, we should get the Age of Umbra miniseries very shortly after EXU Divergence and before the release of Daggerheart in May. So expect to spend April enjoying some Soulsborne-style Daggerheart with Matt Mercer and the rest of the cast. So what do you think about the Age of Umbra miniseries? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to hit those like and subscribe buttons.